Welcome back here to Bethel University Women's Volleyball Media Day. I'm Paul Condry, the longtime voice of the Pilots. Glad that you could stop by and join us here today. We've been blessed to be able to visit with some of the gals that make up the 22-23 women's volleyball team, as well as head coach Katie Weiss. Now we're joined here by first-team All-American Izzy North-Greene. Well, I think that's probably the biggest change between last year and this year. You got married.
I did,
and that's
yes.
an exciting time. So give us some of the differences than being a single student athlete than a married student athlete. That's happened here on this campus before, but kind of give us that idea what's changed in that regard other than the obvious.
I feel like it's not a whole lot of change besides the fact that I wear rings now, and but yeah, I mean the day-to-day stuff, practice, it's all the same. Team dynamics the same. Some of the girls like to make jokes with me about it, and they're like, "You're so mature now. You're married," but we just goof around.
All right. So the trip to the to Central America, South America, it was everybody I've talked to. I've talked to Hannah, and I've talked to Madison Beaver. I talked to Katie, and everybody has told me thus far it was a rich time for the team from a bonding standpoint, spiritual growth. So how does Izzy feel about this?
It was honestly amazing. Like I had never been on a mission trip out of the country like that before, and so that was like super eye-opening. And Coach and I were talking about it the other day, like it was just a really great way to start off our season and just like have that like vulnerable bonding time where like it was 24/7 and it was a lot. And I mean, we were out doing stuff and playing volleyball and being with kids, and so you get like physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted, and then you just like lean on each other even more. And it was just really good to be able to start out the season like that.
Okay, so last year when we were having media day, we were talking about the things we're doing. You're coming off a national championship this year, and I think Katie said it best. We laid an egg in the postseason, and I know that your expectations after winning a championship a year ago, this year, that wasn't the case, or this past year, that wasn't the case. So how is your mindset changed, Izzy, from a year ago coming into this year after the disappointment? I know, for me, I'd be really hungry, and I know you're about as competitive as an athlete as anybody that's in this building.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was not the season that we were hoping for last year.
But you still won 29 matches.
Yes, we did.
Let's go on record saying that.
Yes, we did. But, I mean, this year just coming in, like, we know that we're out for blood and that, like, we're going to have to work 10 times harder than anybody else because, I mean, we say it in practice all the time, we want that red banner. We want to put our names up there, and we want to be recognized. We want to represent Bethel Volleyball as, like, the best of the best, and so we know it's blood, sweat, and tears.
Okay. First team All-American. Tell us about what that was like when you got the notification. There's not been a lot of first team All-Americans in this institution. So tell me about what it's like to be a first team and AIA All-American.
Honestly, it just makes me want to work harder because, I mean, obviously this was like a huge accomplishment and I'm like very grateful that I got it. But, you know, this isn't just like me, like this comes from my team as well. And like volleyball is definitely not an individual sport whatsoever. You cannot do it all by yourself. So getting that notification, getting that text from coach and hearing about all this, it was kind of like unreal for a little bit because I'd wanted it so bad and I was working so hard for it. And then when I finally got it, I was like, all right, what's next? What else can we work for?
If you look at the front line between, if it's Beaver, Payne, and North-Greene up front, we're talking 94, 184, and 147 blocks respectively. This is one of the best blocking teams in the United States. Can you speak to how well you guys collectively as a unit work together?
One of the things that we talk about is just communication. Like when we're going up to block, our pins are talking to our middles are talking to our pins. It's constantly like we're trying to be like one unit as we go up. So it's not, you know, two people, four sets of hands. It's one person, one wall.
When you look at last year, you banged up a little bit with your shoulder, and you kind of had to work through that, but you still played. You still didn't want to sit. You could tell that you were just zeroed in, and you had that monster mentality that wasn't going to be denied. So having played through pain, now that you're healthy in the situation where you're at right now, you have to be pretty precautious about taking care of yourself, making sure those kind of things don't happen again, so you're at your maximum best moving forward with the season. Give us an idea how your routine has changed. Maybe you're stretching, maybe you're doing things. Your lifting is a little different.
Yeah, my lifting has definitely changed. My mindset on lifting has changed. I lift to prepare my body and strengthen my body so I don't have those injuries throughout the season and those things that, hold me back. Definitely daily working with our athletic trainers who have been super helpful and great with just like, hey, like this is like kind of like nagging at me, and they're like, all right, let's get on top of it right away. Definitely, obviously, eating is a big deal. I'm trying to eat healthier so that I'm putting like those good nutrients back in my body.
All right, so when you're one of the top big gals in this league, as well as on this team, you look at Hannah and Michaela and Cheyenne, some of the other gals that are always looking up to you, and talk about taking on a new level of leadership from your standpoint. People already know that you're one of the most dynamic physical players, but now it's an opportunity for you to take your game to a whole nother level from a leadership standpoint, not only on and off the floor, but maybe even spiritually. Are you ready for that role?
I am. I have been talking a lot with my coach just about this and how I have really always struggled leading vocally. When I came in as a freshman, it was very hard for me to learn how to adjust to that. But once I did, it was, I'm doing this for my team. I'm leading with my words, but also my actions, because my actions will speak louder than my words. And so I'm just really excited to keep continuing to do that and be the best leader for my team.
When I'm broadcasting the home games here at Bethel University, I'm always try to take a time to visit with the opponent's coach. And every opponent's coach that I sit down and talk to, I can tell you this without question. Somebody along the way, almost every coach to a person will say, somehow, some way we got to figure out how to put a body on Izzy North. And now, that's when you're a marked person, when you're everybody else's game plan to stay away from, that's a wonderful compliment. But it's also, there's some pressure involved in that.
Yeah.
So talk about being the marked gal, if you will, of this team.
Yeah, it's definitely some pressure, because then you know that they're probably not going to put not one, not two, but definitely 3 blocks up on you as much as possible. So then I have to work harder on being louder, being vocal for my setters, staying behind them, being able to get a good swing around that block, cut as hard as I can. It's definitely it's a blessing and a curse, I would say.
Yeah, I would think that it would be. The quarterbacks on this team are only as good as the person who's finishing them off. So we'll speak to the fact that you got Rachel and Caroline, Paige, Jackie, Hannah, obviously on this team. Those are the gals that are going to be getting you in a position where you can make a successful plays. Can you speak to their maturation and their development and how much better they are at getting you the ball so you can make those big power plays?
Yeah, I think that they're doing a great job, especially Rachel Vendel has done an amazing job of stepping up and being a huge leader on this team, vocally and with her actions. And she honestly has just been so dominant in practice and being relentless, like going after balls that people wouldn't think she would go after, and she's just throwing herself everywhere. So that's been really great to see, and I can see that a bunch of the other girls are following after her, and so she's just kind of like picking up the whole defense with her.
Okay, we've talked with everybody so far here on Media Day about what it's like playing in one of the best conferences in the country. You can't take any matches off, and I know we saw this team a couple times last year where they get out to a 2-0 lead, and then somehow you let the other team back in the match, and the next thing you know, now you're here fighting for your life just to get out of there with a win.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing is to once you get that 2-0 lead, is to finish them. You got to have that killer instinct. So how can you do a better job of getting that point where you got that killer instinct? So if you got a chance to knock them out in 3, you can knock them out in 3.
Yeah, definitely just, we always say, on our team, we always say mini games. So mini games of 5, 10, 15, so on to 25. And we just take it point at a time. We celebrate each point. If a team scores a point, we're the first one to bounce back and get a first ball kill. We do drills in practice where we really focus on first ball kills so that we aren't letting those teams creep in and get in, so that we don't have that where we win 2 sets and then we down a set and then we're having to fight for it. We really try to jump on them fast. Okay,
let's wrap it up by talking about the Crossroads League. And as you look at all the different teams in there, obviously Marion was the team that won the postseason tournament title in a really close match against Indiana Wesleyan. And of course, they won the conference regular season championship as well, too. So obviously they're the team to beat, despite the fact that they had a coaching change. Right. They have a talented group. Yes, and then you throw in the Indiana Wesleyan in there, Mount Vernon, Taylor, and of course the Pilots are right there in the mix. Not taking anything away from anybody else, but it's a brutal league where you have to have your A game. Yeah. So give us an idea as you look at the landscape of the league. Where are some of the toughest places to play, and who are you looking forward to playing the most?
I would say IWU and Marion are definitely the toughest places to play. They're a big powerhouse, and they're always the teams that you want to go after. But I love playing them. I love the competition between them. I love going to Marion. That's always a super fun game. Yeah, I'm just excited to continue to strive after those teams.
Once again, we're glad that you can join us here at Bethel University Women's Volleyball Media Day. First team All-American, Izzy North-Greene. We'll be back with more of Pilots Volleyball right after this.